Both the builder base and clan capital were absolutely massive parts of the game when they came out, as they were like entirely separate bases. However, recently we haven't heard anything from them and they haven't been receiving any sort of updates. I mean, we saw the weekend raids for the clan capital, but other than that, there really is nothing happening with those two bases. But why is this? Did Supercell just abandon them in favor of the home village, or are they planning something big? Well, we're going to be trying to answer that question in today's video, so let's just get right into it. First, let's start off with the builder base, since that was obviously in the game before the clan capital, and it will lay the foundation for the clan capital to get added a few years later. The builder base came out in May of 2017, and it was the biggest update the game had ever received up to that point. This update literally added a whole new base into the game, and it was really like a massive success initially. The main reason for this would be the fact that there was a gem mine, and also how the new attacking system worked, as it was head to head where you were directly competing with your opponent to do the most amount of damage in the least amount of time. This made the game a lot more engaging and interesting, and it was seen as just a little side thing to be working on while you progressed your main base. And this would also introduce the gear ups, which were something that would actually help you out in your home village, so this acted like a nice bridge to give people an incentive to play the builder base while not making people too reliant on it. However, after the first few weeks or so had passed, the first major problem came up that will lead to the base essentially getting abandoned later down the line. And this problem was really with retention, since it was hard to retain players after they had already gotten their gear ups, since after that point, there was no point in playing outside of just wanting to have fun. And the versus battles could get a bit stale after playing it for a while, since strategies were normally all the same. I mean, early on, you would mainly either have giants and cannon carts, or just mass switches depending on your builder haul. And there was not very much variation other than some sneaky archers and bombers. But another massive reason for players not sticking around was really because progression was limited. I mean, you were only able to get loot from a certain number of attacks before you just ended up getting nothing, and this meant you were limited in how much you could farm in a day unless you decided to buy the resources. Plus, after a longer period of time at higher builder hauls, the matchmaking time would just take so long, as you had to rely on there being someone else similar to you trying to attack at the exact same time. So yeah, player retention was a massive problem, and the players themselves were abandoning the builder base after a little bit, and the devs just continued to add in new builder halls. However, from the game files, we always knew they were gonna do that, and so the builder base would seemingly be abandoned during this time period until June of 2019, in which the 6th builder was added. Now, this was massive news, as a 6th builder would be extremely important for progression, but the only way to get it was through the builder base, and you would have to upgrade specific things in order to unlock the 6th builder. And for someone that had quit the builder base early on, this would take a really long time. So while this definitely brought a ton of people back to the builder base, it was for all the wrong reasons, as no one actually cared about the base and instead just cared about meeting the requirements for the 6th builder, and this is why everyone was like rushing their builder halls and only upgrading the specific things they had to. And once the 6th builder was unlocked, everyone would literally abandon the builder base again. And after about a year or so of the 6th builder coming out, the builder base was honestly extremely dead, and it would stay like this for a while. The only reason people would play after getting a 6th builder was if they either actually really enjoyed it or just wanted to max out for the sake of maxing out. And people would also play it for the clan games, but that was obviously only temporary. So, after it was seeming like the builder base had gotten abandoned by Supercell, they suddenly came out with a complete rework in May of 2023, and this would change some requirements for the 6th builder, and it also split the bases into 2 pieces and just got rid of the whole head-to-head battles, along with a lot of other things. And overall, I do think that the rework was better than the original. However, it has been over a year since the update, and the builder base is seemingly abandoned again. There have been like no major updates since the rework, and it seems like builder base is still in the same position of just being this thing that people use to get the 6th builder. In reality, the builder base is going through a bit of an identity crisis, as there doesn't seem to be any true purpose of it that it isn't related to the home village. And realistically, if the way to unlock the 6th builder was just move to the home village, then the builder base would literally be nothing. And the devs on the Clash of Clans team have really been struggling with how to make the builder base more independent and something that people would actually want to play on their own without needing any sort of incentives. So it seems like the reason for why the builder base has been abandoned is just because it is something that they have been struggling with ever since its release, and no matter what they do, the base doesn't really ever seem to evolve past something that is just used for unlocking the 6th builder. And you have also probably noticed how the game overall is faster paced now with more frequent town halls and events, and obviously all of that is primarily focused on the home village, so it seems like the devs may have just decided to focus their energy on the home village rather than the builder base, because the home village really is a core of the game and it truly is more important, and working on the builder base will be more like a time and resource sink at this time. And I really doubt that they are working on like another rework or big update or anything for the base, just because it wouldn't make sense with how much success they're having with the current stuff going on in the game when it comes to the events and other updates and things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the builder base in the future, but honestly I really think that it's going to stay abandoned for a bit, and Supercell is just going to let it stay as something for a 6th builder until they can figure out a new plan, which honestly might be to just scrap the base in general and replace it with something else. So now that we've talked about the reasons for why the builder base was abandoned, let's talk about the clan capital, since this is quite different from that and has entirely different reasons. But first, make sure to drop a sub as I'll be doing a massive giveaway if we hit 30k by July. But anyways, back to the video. The clan capital was added in May of 2022, and this was also a really big deal, and it was even bigger than the builder base for a few reasons. First of all, it was clan based and really revolved around your clan, which was the opposite of the builder base, which had about no connection to clans whatsoever. In the clan capital, there are multiple different bases, aka the districts, and each of these is kind of like a new town hall level, as you do have to upgrade the capital hall to upgrade them. Everyone contributes to building up the base as well as with attacking, which is really the main part of this. From Friday to Monday, you have the raid weekends in which you attack other clan capitals and you basically chip away at each base. Each person in a clan gets 5 attacks, which goes up to 6 if you are the one to get the final 3 stars on the base, and you can use these attacks on multiple different bases, and the overall goal is for everyone to use their attacks to destroy the clan capitals of each clan. This really helps create a community and makes the clan capital less of an actual base and more so of an ongoing event. And it is something that gives continuous rewards, as you do get raid medals at the end of every weekend, which lets you do things like buying clan castle troops and buying things from the trader shop, which is really useful for things like extra resources. This is something that has been around for over 2 years now, and honestly it hasn't changed very much. The most recent update was over 8 months ago, and it was the introduction of the Goblin Mines district, which would also add in a new troop and defense for the clan capital. And since then, there has been nothing really about the clan capital, and it has more or less been abandoned, with the only activity just being the regular raid weekends. And this abandonment really does make sense for a few reasons. First of all, the clan capital is much more liked and well received when compared to the builder base, and the raid weekends are something that everyone really looks forward to because they are fun and also give you rewards that can help out in your actual base, with the main thing being that they allow you to donate clan castle troops to yourself, which is just such a nice feature, and it wasn't something that existed at the beginning. So structuring this base as an event makes it so people don't exactly expect there to be constant updates or any big changes, as they would really want it to be pretty consistent. Plus, with just a massive scale of the clan capital, each update really just adds in so much more stuff to do that takes a long time, which means the devs can go a long time without updating it, especially because you can't really even pay to win it, as you can't buy capital gold and really are limited by each weekend, which helps control progression. But either way, 8 months is still a long time to go without an update for something, so it seems like it was kind of abandoned. The reason for this is, first of all, that it really is very self-sufficient and self-sustaining due to the things I mentioned earlier with the raid weekends. But the second reason is similar to the builder base, and that the devs have really just decided to focus more on the home village, since you can see that after the last clan capital update, the Matchup Madness event started, and that will lead to the monthly events as well as the introduction of Town Hall 16, and obviously that is all stuff that is centered around the home village. So overall, the builder base was abandoned because not many people really even play it, and it isn't worth the time and energy of the devs right now, and the clan capital is abandoned because it is just very self-sufficient and everyone loves it and it doesn't need constant attention. And overall, the devs have just turned their focus to the home village, which makes them put those two things off to the side. But that's it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.